The Raptors tip off their new season tonight, hosting the Cleveland Cavaliers at Scotiabank.
First quarter, RJ, no, Scotty, yes.
So that is a moment from the last time these two teams met. It's been, as we know, more than 5 years since the Raptors won an NBA championship. Last season, they won just 25 games. But with a group of young stars, the Raps are looking to make waves in a competitive Eastern Conference this year. So joining us this morning to set it all up is Aaron Rose with Sports Illustrated. Welcome to your morning.
Thank you for having me on.
Aaron, let's start with what's happening tonight. The Raptors, we know, coming off a very rough season. We're going to talk about injuries in a moment. First, though, what are you going to be watching for in this game tonight?
Well, it's the first time we get basketball back in the city in a very long time, and that's always exciting. And then I think we haven't seen Scotty Barnes play a regular season basketball game in 7 months, and that's exciting. So the Raptors have talked about how this is year one of the rebuild, and I'm excited to see what Scotty Barnes as the face of the franchise looks like and some of these rookies we're going to see tonight. So there might not be a ton of wins this season, but I think it will be an exciting learning opportunity for everyone.
Okay, let's talk about injuries. Some key players dealing with those going into this season. Let's start off with we've got Olnick, who's out for tonight's game. We've got RJ Barrett. We've got Jacoby Walter. Here's a list of their injuries here. Jacoby is dealing with a shoulder injury. RJ Barrett also shoulder, and then Kelly's got a back injury. How much is this going to impact their first stretch of the season?
Yeah, I think what's really going to impact the first stretch of the season is how many tough games they play. They play an absolute gauntlet to start the season, some of the very best teams in the league. And if they're without some of those guys, specifically RJ Barrett, I think that they could struggle to start the season. But hopefully RJ doesn't sound like he's too far from returning. And then, you know, I mentioned that this is a season of rebuilding and development. So I think everyone really wants to see Jacoby Walter back on the court because he was the exciting first-round pick the Raptors didn't think they were going to get in this year's draft. So I know it's been disappointing that he wasn't able to play in the preseason and training camp, but the Raptors want to get him opportunities as soon as possible. So I think he's probably, you know, a couple weeks away, but once he's out there, the Raptors are going to force feed Jacoby as many opportunities to expedite his development. Yeah,
it was Raptors president Masai Ujiri who first sort of floated that notion of this is our rebuild year, focusing on the team's young stars. I know you've said it a few times. How much do you think the organization is going to be able to develop the likes of Scotty Barnes, Grady Dick, and Jacoby Walter this season?
They want to give those guys as many opportunities, as many touches as possible. And that means they're going to play those guys. I know there's been, you know, talk of tanking and potentially trying to lose games, but I think the Raptors want to give those guys opportunities. Nobody wants to take the ball out of Scotty Barnes' hands. And last season when we started the year, this was in some ways Pascal Siakam's team. It's no longer Pascal Siakam's team. It's now Scotty Barnes as the face of the franchise with guys around him, and everyone's, you know, rowing in the same direction, taking this ship forward. And we're excited to see sort of what the future looks like. Is Scotty Barnes going to be a superstar in this league right now? No. But you hope you see glimpses of what the future could hold as him sort of leading this franchise.
That's a lot of pressure on him for this season. You know, you mentioned tanking, so looking down the road, the trade deadline we know is in 4 months, February 6th. Where do you hope to see the team by then? What's realistic?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, as I said, if they struggle to start the year. It's one of the most lopsided schedules I have ever seen. They play so many amazing teams to start the year, which should be fun for fans in the sense that they get to see LeBron James come to town. But I think the second half of the season is really, really easy. A lot of the worst teams in the league down the final stretch. So I think the Raptors could try and be competitive. I think they'll probably lose a bunch of those games against the league's best teams. And then come the trade deadline, they're going to have to make some decisions. Is this a year with a spectacular draft class in 2025 that maybe they say, all right, let's take our chances and see if we can get another one of those top picks? Because the last time they did that, they ended up with Scotty Barnes. And I think that turned out pretty good for the organization.
Rebuild is a tough word for fans to hear, right? Because they want to see this is our winning season. It's our 30th anniversary. We want to go big. What are you most excited for in this NBA season?
Well, I think when it comes to the Raptors, I'm excited to see, you know, the building blocks of this franchise. Everyone's going to be there when they win a championship, but it's exciting to see sort of the glimpses of what the future could hold. And then, you know, for Canadian basketball fans, the other thing I'm going to be watching is Zach Edey over in Memphis. He's the favorite to win the Rookie of the Year. He's the guy I think is going to win the Rookie of the Year, and he's a Toronto kid right here in our hometown. So it's going to be really exciting to track what he does all season long. He's probably going to be the starting starting center for the Grizzlies. He had a fantastic, a legendary collegiate career over at Purdue. And we're talking about a 7'4" big man. So it's going to be really fun to see a hometown kid potentially vie with the league's best for the Rookie of the Year this season.
That's it. A 7-foot Toronto man showing the NBA how it's done. Aaron Rose of Sports Illustrated. Thank you.
Thanks for having me on.
If you liked that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.